Welcome, guys, to our episode 2, our brand new campaign, #NoExcuseForAbuse. We'll be opening the issues within social media. Today we have 2 special guests, 𝐂𝐚𝐥𝐮 and Danielle Sandhu. Before we begin, Wayne, can you just tell us a bit about how you know them two?
Callum and I go way back. Been best friends for how long?
Too long.
Since the Marbella days, a long time ago, probably 20 years now. Since Callum was a little boy. And Danielle obviously is my ex-fiance, and we're still best friends now. And so I thought it'd be nice to get 2 close friends and people like family type on the second episode. And so yeah, just to put a little mix in it.
Brings back some memories for me though, because I remember, I feel like on the 3rd date when these 2 got engaged, we would go out and I felt like I was always the 3rd wheel.
Always. Ours would be.
Hopefully we're going to be 3rd wheel today then on the show.
No, it's cool.
So first of all, thanks for joining us, guys. You know, we're so excited to, Wayne calls it a movement. We're trying to create, hype around something that needs to be addressed. And what I want to do is connect each conversation from every episode to continue that ongoing conversation until things change. So last week we had Xavier and he raised a really good point. In the media, footballers are being told to not address trolls, not respond to them, because this can open the floodgates. But then some people, as Wayne recently did as well, is confront them. And then once they realize they can't just use this platform to attack people, they think about what they have to say. So I want to start with you, Callum. Whose responsibility, in your opinion, do you think it is? Do you think it's for trolls to kind of realize the effect they have on hating? Or do you think it's people with platforms to take charge of handling it themselves?
Cool. I mean, that's a tough question. I think the picture is a little bit bigger. I think that there needs to be laws put in place and governments getting involved and rules being made by the social media owners and corporations, because I think that you don't really think it's that big of a deal until, especially right now, when it's, whether it be racial abuse, whether it be bullying, whether it be, Love Island stars or whoever it might be taking their lives, like drastic things are happening to people. And I feel that now people need to be held accountable. And I saw something recently where they said that they should start making sure somebody shows proof of ID when they showed up on social media. And I thought that's a really, really good idea. Yeah, and I think it's an absolutely great idea. And it's, sometimes these situations are so unique when people are in the public eye and they get bullied, because I hate to say this, but majority of people will think, oh, you've put yourself out there for that, right? And it's understandable because you are putting yourself in the public eye, but nobody deserves to get abuse. Nobody deserves to be bullied. And especially if you've got somebody who's coming from, let's say a reality star, you've got somebody who's coming from a normal life wherever they may live, and now they've been given this opportunity that, although some people may cringe at it, it's very much a blessing in ways. They're able to upgrade their lifestyle. They're able to make an income for themselves and their family. And then now they've opened up this whole channel for people to just hurl abuse and give opinions on who they are. And if you're not strong-minded enough, or you're not strong-willed enough, or you're not taught or maybe know how to manage that, it can really, really affect you. So I think our role in this whole thing is to, being people that have been through it now and have come out the other side, as drastic as that might sound, but I'll give an example. There was 15, 20 years where I was slated. And it was only with age and teaching myself about mindset that I came out the other side and said, who gives a shit what these people think? But there's young people that don't know that yet. So it's our job to now guide people that might be, and it's a small percentage because, there's millions and millions on social media, but there's only a certain amount in the public eye. So it's sometimes tricky for people to understand, but I think the biggest point is treat people with respect. And that's what we've got to hold people accountable for.
Danielle, do you think social media platforms need to take more responsibility as well then?
There's so much there that I completely agree with. I think 100%, I think there should be more proof of each individual account needs to trace back to somebody, so that if there is any of that, they can monitor it. And I think there should be consequences of even putting their job at jeopardy. If somebody's trolling someone, that should then be able to trace back and they potentially lose their job and career, because then they'll think twice about doing that, or track back. And there needs to be something or fines where then that money goes towards then a mental health charity or something, where then there needs to be a repercussion, because at the minute it's just, there's so many just getting away with it. And I don't think that people realize the effect it has, that one small comment that the effect that can have on somebody is so damaging. But and then also the thing is, I always hear people say or they put themselves in that position or put themselves out there, but nobody puts themselves, like nobody deserves any abuse, or nobody like puts themselves in that position to then, for that to happen. I don't think that's fair at all. Like no one deserves that.
I think you came up with a good point to me last week. You said, you know, if you saw two people fighting in the street, you wouldn't join in that fight. Yeah. But you see someone trolling someone online, people troll and join in the trolling, you know, and then it goes viral, and you know, and it's awful.
The analogy is what it is like, if you walk past somebody and they're getting beat up, you know that that's wrong, and that person's hurting that person physically, but you know that's like morally wrong, and you wouldn't walk past and then punch that person, or you won't walk past and laugh. But then why is it okay then when it's not physical abuse? Like, why is there that difference where then people then allow that or kind of join in or laugh? And I do think, like, if it's your friends and you know that they're doing it, or if you're with somebody, I would never be friends with someone or in a relationship with someone that I knew then that was doing that to other people. And I think if you're allowing that, then you're just as bad as well. But
absolutely,
I think it comes down as well to like the person as well, because what is that reason that I can't imagine sitting there and doing that to somebody else, and that then comes down to that person and their own insecurities and their own problems and their own issues, where that's another thing, like they obviously need some help or some...
Yeah, there's a lot of depth to it, you know.
Yeah,
there
is definitely.
The more you learn about it, the more you realize that it's what's going on in that person's life. But and I am fully with that as well. It's like the more you realize that it's not you're doing wrong, it's that person's got stuff going on in their life. So then you almost sympathize. But I think that for the outer shell, it's about addressing that for now. You know, like that person might need to get some counseling or some therapy or whatever the fuck it is. And I shouldn't laugh about it, but that hopefully will happen for that person. But you've got to make sure that the powers that be deal with what's on the outside. And the outside is the fact that people are able to abuse people to the point of no return, you know? And it's a really, really tricky one, because I was thinking about what to say when I came in today, because I have so much to say on this. I was trolled for 15, 20 years. Like, who is this guy? All he is the son of his dad. When my old man died, it was like, oh, you know, your dad fucking yellow liver, like abuse left, right, and center. And it beat me down so bad to the point that I had no self-belief. And it was only by like teaching myself different mindset tools and then finally getting a bit older and saying, who gives a shit? But I also realized that I'm a small percent in the situation that I'm in, right? So it's about letting people know that, so I'm very blessed, and people are very blessed to be in an opportunity to work in entertainment, to be on television, to do things, to make money and enjoy it, right? And although that is a small percent, the goal is to make sure that the rules hit the big masses. So it's like, although you might not think that you're affecting that person, you are. So the rules need to be made for everyone, although it's only a small percent being abused, right? If that makes sense.
I mean, going back to, you know, people, a couple of examples this week that I've done, I've posted, I've screenshotted and posted a couple of random abuse messages to me for absolutely no reason at all. And I had a phone call from Kai, a good friend of mine and business partner. He said to me, Wayne, call them out, but kill them with kindness. You know, let's not have a go at these people. Let's understand that they have a problem, you know. So I got a huge reaction from this. I put a couple of stories on. I screenshotted the person. I tagged them. And I said, you know, if you need help, we're here. You know, it sounded like a bit of a piss take, but it wasn't. You know, we understand that you must have deep issues or something, but if we're no excuse for abuse, are here to help you, you know. And that had a huge reaction on people. And because of the article that was posted a couple of weeks ago, that was the reason why we're here. And the fact that I'm doing this and we're all supporting it, it's all, my abuse has gone down 90%. I mean, I don't even look on Twitter because it's just a dark place.
It is such a dark place, mate.
I deleted my app.
I was on it today though, but I'm on it a lot because there's a lot of United fans and we all like talk football. But I see one person has a bad or opinion about the football and they get slaughtered and you're like, Jesus, how is everybody so dark and twisted?
It hurts me when I was seeing the things written about you because they don't know you and it's just nasty and it makes be angry, but then I know that you're thick-skinned, but then it's not nice for your family and friends to see. And also, how do they know that you are? Because it could take that one thing too many, and if you weren't in a great place and that broke you down, like what is it going to take to stop that? Because then what, will these people then not feel bad for doing that?
You got over hate and trolls by being strong-minded, and you had to teach yourself that over time. And Wayne's ignored it for years, but only recently has sort of confronted it. So now it's like two different approaches. You kill them with kindness, or do you address the trolls? Because you can only ignore so much.
Yeah.
And are you just adding fuel to the fire by confronting and outing them?
It's a really good question. I think this role is better. This road that's being taken of getting people on to raise awareness to then hopefully make an impact, Because if you can avoid the directness of dealing with the person that's abusing, I find that one really tough. Like, out of 100 insults, sometimes I'll have to call one out just because it's like, fuck off, But like literally, I swear, like things will come in and then one will be too much and I'm like, oh God, I got to reply to this idiot, yeah? And then it's nice because then you see people support you and it sounds quite silly and some people might not understand that, but I think it's just a bigger picture where if we can do the bigger move and we can create the noise and create the hype with this, to potentially get it in front of people that can actually make a difference. Like it comes down, hopefully we'll talk about it more and more and more in more episodes, but it comes down to making enough noise that media or social media owners make the stance and say we are supporting. But the downside is that this has been going on for so long. Media has been able to get away for everything for so long. And I mean, I can't hate on them because a lot of times they've helped you with your career. But there was also, I remember 7 years of abuse every single day, and they're able to get away with it. More rules were put into play as more things happen, like phone hacking that happened and all these different things. But there's still a freedom that they have, and you're absolutely right. When somebody calls out somebody with that big media platform, everybody else is like, oh, I'll jump on that one. I'll do it as well, But it is the social media, from racial abuse to bullying to the lot, that people need to be held accountable.
I think the ongoing debate clearly is going to be, where's the limit? What is just criticism?
Yeah, where is the line that's crossed?
Yeah, because if you're allowed to praise someone and say you're amazing, I think you're great on TV, you're an amazing footballer, then you're also allowed to say, I don't think you're great. But what's the limit? Do you know what I mean? Where's the bar where it's actually hate and you should not be allowed to say it?
That's a really good question. I actually don't even know the answer. I think that obviously people should be entitled to opinions without a doubt. But I also think it's trying to this would take ages, but it's trying to help people know that it's not the right thing to do. Like, you get abuse all the time, but or let's just say, I would look on somebody's social media and I'd have a thought that I didn't like about him, but I wouldn't fucking say it, You wouldn't be like, yeah, you're a dickhead unless it was really, really bad.
If someone doesn't agree with what I'm doing and says it in a polite or well-mannered way, not that that will ever happen, but it's okay. You've got your opinion of me, that's fine. But
and to use the word pedos and
nons, sex offender, this and why am I a sex offender?
Yeah, it's not nice, is it? It's horrible. That is absolutely fucking disgusting.
And then once one person said it, and then other people then
looked up the complete description of nonce slang, and it's a child rapist paedophile.
Tense, bro. And then people are thinking it's okay to write that on a page.
So someone called me out a nonce the other day on a live, so that's the one I screenshotted. And, why is that okay? He immediately apologized once I called him out.
Yeah.
He immediately wrote to my inbox and apologized. And I thought to myself, if I hadn't called you out, would you apologize?
Yeah.
Absolutely no way. So I didn't reply to him. I just left it up and...
I just think as well, like if that was their family and or if that was their how would they feel with that? Like, why is it okay for them to write these
my
things?
Daughter
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Mate, that's why I'm here backing you. I do it anyway, but it's like, hell yeah, I've seen it. I've dealt with it. And it's like, nah, that shouldn't be allowed to be said. You got kids, people have families, and then people like the poor people, that we know personally that have gone to that too far of a point. The numbers might only be 4 or 5 people, but it's 5 that shouldn't happen to. It should not happen just because somebody at home thinks it's okay to say, you're da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's a really good question, because what is the line? I think there needs to be, few things put into play of no death threats, no racial abuse, no words that are actually sex offense or or jail time. You know what I mean? Like you're allowed to say, I think you're a bit of a dickhead, I would imagine. You know, that's okay. But you can't really.
Or if you say like, I disagree with this, what you're doing, or even like, oh, I don't love your shoes. Do you know what I mean? Like just something like not nasty or like borderline bullying. And I think you know wrong from right. Like, you know, if you have your opinion, but then you know when it crosses the line.
You're not going to, like you say, you're not going to write it.
No.
And in the comments, there'll be, apart from the horrible words I've just spoke about, they'll just tag @Met Police.
So dark.
That's all they'll do.
Or
At Met Police about me, because I post a picture of me with a girl in a bikini or something.
Yeah, it's not cool.
it's crazy.
You know, it's just ridiculous.
But then it's like you said again, it's like hopefully making this movement for the younger that are coming into it, especially like I was mean for you. Everybody gets their own different abuse, I think, and then once people see that, then they kind of go on that. So I feel
it becomes like a culture, doesn't it? Because if, like you said, if the big media platforms are attacking people, then it makes trolls think it's okay to do it.
Like for me, I get quite a lot about not
exactly my point from last week. You know, the guy that wrote the article about me was trolling me. That's a troll comment. You know, so Wayne should change his name to Wanker. I mean.
And then that picture, what was that thing?
Mate,
I know.
What did my mum say? My mum went, wanker? What's a wanker?
But the thing is, that's been happening for years. Media are allowed to get away with that stuff, and they're not held out. They're not held accountable because they're big money investment. They're like big corporations, and like you kind of actually deal with it. It's because it's been going on for so long. And you know what? Even if Wayne sees that article and we do this and it doesn't make a difference, at least there was a process, or at least he's trying to say that is not cool. Don't call me out. You don't even know me.
I think if social media did take responsibility a bit more, it would make a massive difference. Because, you know, yesterday when you called that troll out, instantly he said sorry, and you've reduced the amount of hate that you get.
He said, please, when I come in the club in the summer.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I was thinking.
That's the thing.
I bet he's thinking, oh damn.
I swear to God, yesterday on Twitter, I put up a picture going, feel the best I've ever felt in 40. The guy wrote to me saying, that's because you and Wayne are going to be in the club this summer filming each other shagging birds. And I literally thought to myself, how the fuck have you come up with that? Yeah. So I retweeted it and I wrote at the top, and you're going to be outside not able to get in. I couldn't help myself. But I felt bad for him, because I would have, if I seen him, I'd have been like, brother, come inside, have a drink, hang out with us. Like, no, you don't have to be a dickhead, you know? That's what I would have done, but I couldn't help myself. At one point, I was like, you know what? Fuck you, you're not coming in.
That's what I mean. When people see, they actually change their mind. And I think if that person yesterday, if they had a fake account, the problem wouldn't get solved, because no one's held accountable then. It's only because that person attacked you on their real profile that it bothered them that you outed them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
What's to stop them making another account and then another account?
That's what a lot of them are coming from fake accounts.
But I will only call out people that have got real accounts.
Of course, yeah.
You know, you can see a real account. You can see people that just do it because it's their hobby to troll people. You know, they make these, which is exactly why the registration needs to be changed. This is exactly why. Because they cannot be found, and they're just doing it for fun. They're doing it to wind people up, and it's just not on.
There's a guy that did it who was like really racist about the Priti Patel and a few other things, and he did it on his Snapchat, so then his name came up on it, and then straight away when it got shared, because it was really, really bad, he got his company announced that he got sacked, and did that. The football club that he like worked out, played with, they did an announcement to say he was like, and he completely lost everything from doing this video, which that's what I mean. It's like, but then that's what should be the consequence. Maybe it put people off.
Yeah, so you see that a lot of that on social media, don't you? You see somebody doing something really wrong, and then there's, God, this all sounds quite negative, because there's a lot of goodness. People will say, let us support that person, or, you know, you see somebody say something really bad, and then they all team together and say, there's Bob from so-and-so. Bob gets called out. Bob won't make that mistake again, you know? So it is a case of making sure, first of all, we don't want you to make this mistake in the first place, but if you do keep hurling abuse at some 23-year-old girl that's just come off a telly that might not be able to take it, you should be called the fuck out and held, you know?
Yeah, because as well, these people that are coming from these reality TV are not trained to know how to deal with that, and I think that's another thing. Like, yeah, they're thrown into it, and they don't go into that expecting that kind of.
It's probably why I am so thick-skinned, because it's been a gradual increase for me. The abuse has gradually increased over the years, whereas, like you say, Dan, someone that's going in from 2,000 followers or 200 followers, they go on a TV show and they walk off that island, come back, and they've got over 1 million followers.
That's why it's good what you're doing though, Wayne. That's why it's good that this is brought to attention, because your 20 years of experience, although it sucked dealing with it, your 20 years of experience, you've been blessed in many, many ways, but you still shouldn't be having to deal with that in the first place. So now, let's just say you've done yourself a TV show and now you've realized that whatever it was before has gone tenfold, and it's like, holy shit, now I have a voice and a platform to do something right with it, and that's awesome,
So Wayne, obviously we spoke about how social media should take responsibility. At the start, you mentioned that you wanted to try and take it to Parliament. What would be your ideal end goal? How this would all end up?
Just what we've spoke about, really. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to be the person, or we're not going to be the platform that takes it to Parliament, but we will be a part of that. It's a movement that needs to happen. It's 100% for me about making life a lot more difficult to open a social media account. It's just so obvious and it's so clear that is the way that will dramatically reduce everything. By registration should be tough.
You should just get that one account linked to that one person that's linked to your phone or your address, or I'm sure there's one that did do that, or was it like your email or something where it does register back to you?
Yeah, it's just so loose. It's just so loose.
So the head of Facebook, the head of Twitter's, all of them.
You can get your account deleted for having to go at someone, or for doing the wrong thing, or for posting the wrong thing, and then 5 minutes later have another account from the same person, the same address.
And you'll never know who it is.
So where's the sense in that?
No, so Callum, what do you think? Just keep making noise into all these social media channels, start taking more responsibility, and then, just like now we have fingerprint scan on everything we do, right? You don't even need a password anymore. Like, you got Face ID. Yeah. That should be the norm per account.
Yeah.
You think that should be the way?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think the more noise and the more awareness is raised is always going to be a winner. I think, as I said, the owners should be held accountable. But I also think, and I come from a real spiritual, mindful place with this shit. Some people might not understand, but it's just about being better, being kinder, being a better human. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shit going on in the world. Why not lift each other up instead of bring each other down? And I know that sounds fairy, but it is like, if you have that mentality of respect, of manners, of mindfulness, you can still be a smart ass behind closed doors. You can still have banner behind closed doors, but don't disrespect other people because you don't know what they're going through. My old man, I think about, there's this real old school mentality. We don't address this and we don't deal with that and we deal with that. Yeah, cool. I like to live that as well. But if you continue to do that, there's generational screw ups on and on and on and on. Somebody at some point, when this thing's going on right now, more chance better than ever to stop some generational traumas, to stop some shit that's going on for so long, and to help people know they can heal and get better so they don't feel like they have to abuse the next person.
And I think by talking about the things you guys are talking about is really going to inspire other people in similar positions with similar platforms to open up more and talk about it. And the more noise you make, hopefully it will silence the hate.
You've done a great job at hosting, brother.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming. Thanks, Amber.